Hello, friends, and welcome back to Stories About Entitled People. Today we have 3 brand new stories, starting with one where our OP was forced to do extra work. Let's see how that turned out. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. Sorry, you won't be getting the supervisor position. So I worked for a company for a few years, got turned down for every promotion, but was still expected to do the extra work because they stopped scheduling anyone to do it, and I thought it would make me look better if I just did it, covering breaks, checking logs, safety walks, etc. We had 3 department managers who only worked during the day and a supervisor for the mid-shift, but no management at night. A position opened up for the job and I put in for it, but was then closed because of labor and budget issues and lack of applications. A few weeks later, they complained I wasn't doing enough production and needed to focus more on my work, so eventually I just stopped doing the extra work and let the department fall to crap. We got pinged from the regional manager for missing too many safety walks, we got pinged by health and safety for not having properly filled logs, customers complained about lack of service due to employees being on breaks, management flipped crap and said this would probably prevent me from getting a promotion in the future. When I asked why, they told me that these were part of my job duties. Me. But you told me to focus on productivity, not any extra duties. These are part of a supervisor role, not mine. Management. You've been doing them for months now. Why did you just stop? Me. You told me to focus on production. Management. Well, until we find someone to work at night, they have to be covered. Me. Wow, so one of the managers will have to close every night? That's rough. Management. Come on, we're all a team. You can help us out, right? Me. Sorry, I'm not comfortable doing extra duties beyond my role without proper training and compensation. And our second story. Property management company gets more than they bargained for with retirement community. My mother lives in a retirement community that's for seniors, but most are still very active. Prior to the start of all the drama, the property management running her community were respectfully lax in enforcing the rules and guidelines. Stepped up when things got out of hand, but mostly stayed out of people's way. About 6 years ago, the property management were outbid, and immediately the new changes made were ruffling the feathers of many residents. Strict 3-inch blades of grass on the front lawn, laundry drying on lines cannot be seen even if it was in the backyard, anything and everything that took away from the visual curb appeal of the houses they were in charge of was made into a community rule. Even outdoor lights that illuminate the front of the house, excluding the porch light, have to be dark at 10:30 p.m. Screw you if you have solar lights or safety pathway lights. It was determined that one person's house had excessive outdoor lights, and rather than confront this person individually, the whole community had to abide by the rules. Things came to a boiling point when a couple of residents who were swimming in the community pool after hours got a rude awakening. They found the gate was padlocked by the new night security rent-a-cop who didn't even check to see if the pool was occupied while doing his rounds. Because the new property management was too cheap to hire a full-time guy, this rent-a-cop would do a sweep of the community, then leave to patrol other communities as well. There was nobody to contact to get the residents out, and the fire department had to be called with bolt cutters. Huge community uproar over this, but rather than own up to their massive F-up, they tightened the reins even further. Community bulletins were posting new rules on $100 gate card fees if you lose yours. Noise levels after 10:30 p.m. were now in effect. Hello, retirement community. Old people are hard of hearing and have to blare their TVs. The one that irked me personally was the association dues suddenly went up $30 a month for community bandwidth. When I inquired on this, it was an optional fee that got tacked on during the previous month, bills in fine print. It was for Wi-Fi access to the town hall and pool house that was already free to use up to that point. What struck me as low was that the fine print said, if you wish to opt out of this fee, check this box, else the charge will automatically be added to your next month's bill. Residents started taking legal actions and means to fight these changes, but were being squashed and buried in paperwork by the courts and opposing lawyers. How so? Oh, the property management was owned by the very lawyers squashing them with paperwork and reversals. They had their own free lawyers to tie things up that they wished to squash. One resident decided to take action in the most petty way possible. For several nights in a row, the pool gate lock would be snapped off with bolt cutters. Pieces were discovered each morning, and sure enough, a news bulletin went out strictly forbidding this action as vandals and rogue individuals lowering the property value of your homes, etc. This had the opposite effect. Over the course of the next 2 weeks, a mass wave of petty acts were taken against property management. Fountain filters found clogged with sand and gravel. The beautiful landscaping they spent months redoing was found sickly, dead, or dying from plant killers and heavy amounts of salt in the dirt. Security cameras were installed, and this only led to the wires being snipped or the lens blacked out with paint. Security patrols were beefed up to catch the culprit, completely unaware it was close to 30 residents doing all this, in teams no less. Diversion teams were set up to distract the patrol while other teams performed the vandalism. It took nearly 5 years, but the lawyers from the property management company finally had enough. Another company was brought in, and things settled down significantly. There are still open lawsuits and legal actions out there for the previous property management company that are pending. And our last story. Some people are ignorant, stupid, and entitled. But that is just crazy. So I work on my cars as a hobby. I have an okay shop. I've always tinkered with stuff since childhood. I have a good friend I used to work with, Paul, who lives in an apartment and has a nice truck. Rims, paint, dropped, etc. that he brings from time to time to do routine stuff or upgrades. We work on stuff together. He usually brings the parts and some beers or food. He always pays me for my time and tools regardless. His cousin Jessica has a BMW 5 Series and needed routine maintenance. She asked Paul to do the stuff for her. He told her that he doesn't have the tools and that I usually help him work on his truck. This part is key to the events that happened. Paul ended up calling me at work asking to help his cousin. Being a friend, I asked to leave the car at my house with keys and parts, and I'd do it after work. So I get home yesterday, see a BMW in my driveway, changed clothes, and went out to the shop, prepped all the stuff, jacks, tools, etc., and went out to the driveway to pull the car in. Once inside the car, I didn't see anything. Oil, filters, belts, etc., nothing. I sat confused, thinking it might be in the trunk. Nope. So I call Paul. He gives me her number, and this is how it went. Me. Hello, is this Jessica? Yeah. Listen, I'm the guy who was going to work on your car. Oh, hi. What does this car need done? Did you bring the parts because I didn't see anything? Paul said you were going to do that. No, I'll do the labor, but I don't even know what this car needs done. You need to bring the stuff to me. Paul said that you do that. Again, I do the labor, but someone needs to bring me the parts. Don't you work on Paul's truck? Yeah. So you work for Paul, and I'm his favorite cousin. You need to do the stuff on my car, or I'll tell Paul. The F? Listen, Paul always buys the parts. Also, I'm not going to sit here and argue with you. If you want this done, then you need to bring me the parts just like Paul. Otherwise, I'm going to pull the car out to the curb and you can come get it. Well, how much is it going to cost? I don't know what you need. If it's just oil and a filter, then you're looking at $30 to $50, depending on what kind you want. Well, that's a ripoff. I can get it cheaper at the BMW place. Listen, you're more than welcome to go over there and have it done by them. I'll go ahead and pull the car out front. Click. Not 10 minutes later, Paul calls. Hey, what's going on? My cousin called and said you're refusing to do the work. Hey man, what's up? No, I'm not refusing to do the work. I'm refusing to pay for the parts. The car was in my driveway without any parts. I don't know what she wants done. WTF. Gosh, she's dumb. I'll go and drop off the parts. Sorry for the hassle. Tell her she's lucky because 10 more minutes and I was about to drive it out front and leave it there. About 30 minutes later, Paul arrives with the parts, oil and filter, and pays me money while apologizing again. About 45 minutes later, I text Paul and tell him to let his cousin know that she can come get the car in another 30 minutes. It'll be out front in case I'm not home. 30 to 40 minutes later, she arrives as I'm in my shop. I hear a loud screech from a girl I assume is Jessica. WTF! I thought you were going to fix my car! I began walking out front, wondering WTF is she talking about? I'm calling Paul right effing now! Hey, Jessica, everything okay? You just wait till Paul gets here! What are you talking about? Where are the things you were going to do to my car? You didn't do anything! What things are you talking about? I did the oil and filter change. Paul said you were going to fix my car! I open the hood and show her the clean dipsticks and oil and then point to the tote with the used oil that came out. She ended up going and sitting in the car she came in with somebody else, while on the phone with whom I assume was Paul, they ended up driving off, leaving the BMW. Then it hit me. Did she think I was going to do upgrades to this car? About 30 minutes later, Paul is pulling up with Jessica in tow, flying out of the passenger side. I'm still in my shop facing the car. Paul, your mechanic didn't do anything to my car. What are you talking about? Yeah, it looks the same. He didn't do anything. Don't pay him. You need to fire him. Did this chick actually think I worked for Paul? What are you talking about? He did the oil change. That's what you paid for. I didn't want that. I wanted it to look good. I want my money back. You need to fire him and not pay him. Paul's now visibly upset. What the F are you talking about? He doesn't work for me. I live in a crappy apartment and have an old truck. He owns his cars and owns a house with an actual shop. He's a good friend and helps me work on my truck. You paid for routine maintenance, which is oil and filter, not wheels. If you wanted wheels, you need to pony up another $1,000 to $2,000. Jessica had the confused Pikachu look. She takes her keys and drives off as I'm having trouble holding in my laughter. As soon as she goes around the corner, Paul bursts out laughing and I couldn't hold it in anymore. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.